Welcome back. Now for your 5-day weather forecast, we go outside to Dino Pasalic.
Thanks, guys. It's the coldest day we've experienced all week. It's currently 1 with a high of 9 expected for later today, but I promise it's going to get a lot warmer in the coming days. Here's what your 5-day forecast looks like. Expect some sunshine tomorrow as your weekend kicks off. We should get a high of 8 and a low of 2. On Sunday, it should be a bit cloudier, but it's going to get warmer with a high of 12 and a low of 8. Here's where it gets good though. A high of 14 is projected for Monday, and it shouldn't fall under 10 degrees. Tuesday should still stay pretty warm, a high of 13 degrees with a low of 9 and some showers expected as well. And don't forget to set those clocks back an hour tomorrow night as the time change occurs at 2 a.m. on Sunday morning. That's it for weather. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Dino. Greece's government is facing a crucial non-confidence vote today. Prime Minister George Papandreou's party holds only a tiny majority in the Greek parliament. Papandreou shocked world leaders this week after calling for a referendum on an EU bailout package for Greece. He scrapped the referendum plan yesterday. The timing of the vote is expected to take place when markets in the United States and Europe are closed.
7 Canadian fighter jets will return from Libya today. The jets were sent to help enforce the NATO no-fly zone over Libya. Defense Minister Peter MacKay says the military assisted to protect civilians, enforce UN sanctions, and secure access to humanitarian aid. Some members of the ground crew and support personnel are also due home this evening and tomorrow morning. The Canadian Air Unit has been in Libya since the spring.
The mayor of a town in Mexico was assassinated yesterday. He was the 25th mayor to be murdered since December 2006 when the drug war began. His name was Ricardo Guzman, and he was the mayor of La Piedad, a small town in the state where the drug crackdown began.
A Toronto man has been detained by police in Egypt for unknown reasons. Somali-born Abdul Nasser Warshami was on his way to see family in Egypt but was detained upon his arrival in Cairo. Canadian embassy officials are attempting to contact him, but so far Warshami's family has heard nothing. This is the second time in 2 months a Somali Canadian has been detained in Egypt.
A 520-day simulation of life on planet Mars ends today. 6 men were confined to a windowless module in a Moscow Space Research Center to mimic a flight to Mars. The experiment imitated the confinement, stress, and fatigue of space travel, minus the weightlessness. The deputy head of the Russian Space Agency says the research will help pave the way for a real mission to Mars.
The fate of the doctor charged with the death of Michael Jackson is in the hands of a jury. If convicted, Dr. Conrad Murray could face up to 4 years in prison and lose his medical license. The prosecution called Dr. Murray's care of Jackson bizarre, while his defense team argued Jackson caused his own death. The pop star died of an overdose of a sedative in June of 2009.
And now with your sports, here's Vicky Simon.
Thanks, guys. Domination is what describes the opening games for the Humber men's and women's volleyball teams Thursday night on home courts against the Niagara Knights. The women won 3 out of 4 sets, beating the Knights by a score of 3-1. Chris Dowling was named player of the game, obtaining 14 points, helping the Hawks to take the final 2 matches in the game. The men's team thwarted the Knights, winning all 3 sets, shutting them out with a score of 3-0. Marcus Polsma was named player of the game for his hustle and his superior skills that were showcased throughout the night. The Hawks will take on the Fanshawe Falcons on Saturday, starting at 3 p.m. The ice may be cold, but the Leafs were sizzling hot in Ohio Thursday night when they played the Columbus Blue Jackets. Defenseman John Michael Lyles skated up front to play offense to get the first goal of the game and his first goal of the season. Forward Clark MacArthur scored 2 goals, and Joey Crabb got his second goal since being recalled from the Marlies, enabling the Leafs to take the 4-1 win over the Blue Jackets. Ben Scrivens, who was just called up from the AHL to replace Jonas Gustafsson in net, made 38 saves in his first career game. Toronto is now tied with Pittsburgh for first place in the Eastern Conference. The Leafs head back home for their game against the Boston Bruins on Saturday night. Puck drop is at 7 p.m. It was a good night for other Canadian teams in the NHL, with the Calgary Flames taking the win against the Detroit Red Wings, scoring 4-1. The Winnipeg Jets shut the New York Rangers out with a score of 3-0. But the Vancouver Canucks could not achieve the same result, losing to the Minnesota Wild by a score of 5-1. Last night, Argo fans bled blue for the final time until next season. They took the victory against the Ticats with a final score of 33-16. Andre Juries scored 2 touchdowns and Corey Boyd scored 1, helping the team to achieve their first win against Hamilton. Despite the win, they finished last in the East Division, only winning 6 games and losing 12. That's it for sports. Back to the desk.
Thanks, Vicki. After the break, we'll get the latest in entertainment from Lindsay Tucci.
Want to know who tops Forbes' most overpaid actors list? Or how about what hot new movies are out today? We'll give you all your entertainment news after the break.